Hey guys, Christina Marie here. I just got back from seeing Divergent for the second time this week, and it was even better than the first time. The first time I saw it, I was with my friend Carmen. Hey girl! And then I went back today after church and saw it for a second time, and so good! So it's time for me to review the movie. So here I am with a movie review for you. Okay, so I might get a little rambly because I just have so many things to say. I'm just going to talk about the movie. I'm just going to talk about what I loved. Right off the bat, let me just tell you, there aren't too many bad things in the movie. There aren't too many things I didn't like about the movie. Let me just say up front that it's an adaptation. The book is not going to be 100% represented in the movie. The director and the screenwriters are going to take certain liberties. They just are. It's the way of Hollywood life. It is the way of movie life. Let's just deal with that and cross that bridge and move on. I have dealt with that. I've dealt with that. That's partially the reason why I enjoyed City of Bones so much. I will say that Divergent is way better than City of Bones. But it's why I like City of Bones, because I understood what I was watching. I was watching an adaptation. I was watching someone else's interpretation of a book. Now, let's speak on the director first. Neil Burger. Mwah. You brilliant, brilliant man. I personally think any director who takes on the first leg of a trilogy or a series are the bravest directors, because they are starting from scratch. They have no concept, they have no point of reference, they have no frame of reference except the author and the screenwriters and their own mind. Anyone who comes after it, like the new director that's going to be directing Insurgent by Neil Burger, he has a frame of reference with what Neil Burger set up for him. So that's there. Neil Burger took Veronica Roth's world and turned it into this brilliant visual piece of art, and I loved it. I loved the scenery, I loved the cinematography, I loved the choreography, I loved the costumes, I loved the makeup, I loved the fight scenes, I loved the casting. Oh, it was all just done so well. I loved the camera work. There was never a time where I just was like, oh, that was awful. That was a bad choice, Neil Burger. I never thought that. There were some things where I was just kind of like, but nothing that took me out of the movie. So there's that. Neil Burger, I commend you. I loved it. And I'll get back to you in a second, because I want to also say something about what I think Neil Burger did intentionally, but I'll come to that in a second. Let's talk about the actors. Awesome job. Now, you guys know I have never been Shailene Woodley's biggest fan. I've never been. I just don't like any of the things that she's been in. The Spectacular Now was pretty decent, but that's the most decent thing I've seen her in. But Divergent, she knocked it out of the park. She did a exceptional job, and she made me eat a huge slice of humble pie. I am definitely eating my words with the fact that I had no faith in her when it came to this film, and so my bad. I can totally own up to that. She really proved me wrong. She did such a great job with her character. One of the things that I love that she did was she didn't let Triss's personality out of the bag at the very beginning. It was a slow unwrapping of who Triss Pryor is going to become. By the end of Divergent, we see the foundation of who Triss Pryor is going to be, in my opinion. There was a pivotal scene in the movie that dealt with Ashley Judd, who I will talk about in a second, and Shailene Woodley. They were fighting to get from abnegation to where Andrew Pryor, Triss's dad, was with the other abnegation people that escaped the massacre that was soon to happen. There was a pivotal moment there, and Shailene Woodley just turned on, and I saw Triss. I didn't see Beatrice. I saw Triss. There was an immediate transition from Beatrice to Triss in that moment, and I was like, this is it. Lights on, fire's on, let's just go. And she did a great job with that. By the end of the movie, like I said, I had faith in Shailene's ability to give me the Triss that I read in the books. So, good job. Theo James. He did such a phenomenal job. Now let me just tell you my issue with Theo James. I am 27 years old. Theo James is 29. Theo James looks like he's in his 30s. Theo James is playing a 24-year-old character in the movie, an 18-year-old character in the book. There is too much of an age differentiation there. And so that, he looked older. He just did. He looked older. He looked older. So let me just explain. I'm emphasizing on the looked older because he did. But he played 4 so brilliantly, so perfectly, so flawlessly that I can overlook that. I completely overlooked it during the entire movie. But there were some spots where I was just like, man, he looks older. He just looks older here. But that is neither here nor there. He did a perfect job as 4. And I loved it. I loved it. The chemistry between Shailene and Theo was spot on. And I have nothing bad to say about it. Nothing bad. Theo James has the ability to have the smoldering look when the camera is in front of him. He has very expressive eyes. And so I just loved looking at his eyes and just, he speaks with his eyes a lot. And I was right there with him when he did it. I loved it. Loved it. Excellent job. Ashley Judd. Perfect job as Natalie Pryor. Such a good job as Natalie. She was so good at being Triss's mother. So good. I have no qualms at all. Tony Goldwyn, amazing job. Amazing job. Surprise, Jai Courtney was awesome as Eric. I hated Eric in this movie, and Jai Courtney made me hate Eric just the way that he was supposed to. I loved it. I thought he did such a great job with just portraying the intensity that is Dauntless. He was Dauntless's intensity. A lot of the craziness that is Dauntless came from Jai Courtney's character, or Jai Courtney's portrayal of Eric. Hands down. Like, that's where I got my frame of reference for Dauntless. Listening and watching him, what more did you need to understand that Dauntless is a freaking badass, intense place, right? Jai. Kate Winslet. Perfect, Janine. The thing about women playing evil characters, women who are in those roles are the most conniving, manipulative, evil beings, but it's all underhanded. It's all smooth and under the blanket. You can't see it. It's like a thief in the night. You can't hear it, you can't smell it, you can't see it, but it's there. But when you notice it, it's too late. The snake has already got you in the neck. And that was Janine. And Kate Winslet did that damn thing so well. When she said, the future belongs to those who know where they belong, that was her way of letting all those little initiates, or those little choosers, know you need to fit in to get in. So choose wisely. It was an underhanded threat, and she delivered that line so perfectly. I said, oh, y'all don't even know what y'all about to get into. She just told y'all basically need to do what she says without her having to tell you what to do. That's how you play evil. I think she did a great job, personally. I loved every moment of it. Let's move on to the questionable things for me. The questionable things, okay, so we know that certain things were left out. You know, there were certain things about the fear landscape that was left out, whatever. There was Edward, the scene with Edward, that was left out. Okay, that is problematic in its own right, and I'll tell you why in a second. The ending of the movie versus the ending of the book. I don't necessarily have a preference of one over the other, but the ending in the movie I think was fitting, because I think had the ending of the book been interpreted and translated into film, it may have come off as a teeny bit cheesy. I'm talking about the scene between Tris and Four, but you know, whatevs. Now, let's talk about this Edward thing, because it ties into my biggest issue with Divergent, and it's a really tiny issue. The absence of the Edward knife in the eye scene, I get it. I get it. And I chalk it up to the sake of the PG-13 rating, because there were some other things in there that, had they not been veiled the way that they were, it would have bumped up the rating. Definitely. But Peter's character was more of a jerk than an asshole in this movie. And I'm not blaming Miles Teller. It's not his fault. In the book, Peter is a downright asshole. Like, you just hate him. But in the movie, he was just a jerk. He was just a big jerk. And I just was like, I need more. Give me more. I need more. The audience who hasn't read the book needs to understand that Peter is evil. Like, on the borderline of evil. Peter is intense, and he's just an asshole. And I didn't get that. I got jerk. Now, I think the Edward knife scene could have really helped in Peter's character development. That's my issue. That is the only issue, the only real issue I have with the movie. That's it. And that was me trying to find something to not like. But that would be it. Everything else I'm pretty much okay with, to be completely honest. Favorite moments in the movie. Okay. During the choosing ceremony, the award for the most heart-wrenching, crushed facial expression goes to Tony Goldwyn. Oh, his face of such disappointment or shock. Like, really disgusting shock on his face. Like, both of my kids. I felt for him. I wanted to jump through that screen and run to him and say, hey, I will be your adopted little black baby if that look on your face goes away. Please, just put that away. I can't take it. My heart can't take it. That scene ripped me to shreds. And that was at the beginning of the freaking movie. Let's move on to more scenes. The train jumping. Anytime Dauntless was jumping from trains onto roofs, jumping from trains, going to the choosing ceremony, jumping on the trains, jumping off the trains, it was awesome. I loved it. It was great. Oh my gosh, so much fun. I want to jump. I want to jump. Capture the flag was so much fun. The Ferris wheel scene was so adorably cute. It was so simple. It was so simple. I loved the simplicity of it. Oh, Natalie Pryor and Tris. Any scene with Natalie Pryor and Tris were my favorites. I loved those scenes, and it was mainly because of Ashley Judd. Don't get me wrong, Shailene Woodley did great, but Ashley Judd, oh, I want her to be my celebrity mama. I just love the way that she portrays being a mother. It was just so good. So good. But then the final scene between Tris and Natalie, that was a scene that like propelled Tris forward, and it was so necessary, and it was done so well. That was probably Shailene Woodley's, or one of Shailene Woodley's best moments in the film, was the final scene between Tris and Natalie. Perfect. Okay. The balcony scene where Theo is showing Tris his tattoos that leads into the kiss. I loved that scene, which leads me to the music. The music was awesome in this film. The soundtrack was placed perfectly throughout the film, and the kiss scene wasn't cheesy. The music didn't make it cheesy. The music added just a nice element of romanticized lust, love, affection, flirtation. You know, it just kind of sensualized the moment. Here's something to know about me. I love to watch movie kisses. I love to watch them. I love to watch where people place their lips and how they place them. And sometimes it doesn't go so well. Sometimes I've seen some ugly kisses, but this Divergent kiss was beautiful. That was one steamy, sexy, beautiful kiss. I loved it. And when she put her hand, what was it, her finger or her thumb on his lips, oh girl, I got so warm. Theo James has some beautiful full lips that I found myself just, this is getting inappropriate. But that scene was perfect. I have no qualms about it. It wasn't dragged out. It wasn't too short. It wasn't too long. Oh. Yeah. Other favorite scenes. Let's move on. Other favorite scenes. The final scene at the end, the climax between Tris and Four when they're in Dauntless in the lab when they're fighting. Oh my gosh. Such a good scene. Why am I raising my hand like I'm asking a question? But such a good scene. Oh my gosh. The fight sequences. So spot on. Everything was just so perfect. Oh, it just makes me so happy. I don't have much bad about this film. There's nothing really bad about it because I understand that it is an adaptation. It's not going to be perfect. I'm telling you the things that I was bothered by, but it's really just one or two things, and they're you know, not that big of a deal, really. Except the Peter thing. The Peter thing is a big deal. So, yeah, I take that back. The Peter thing is a big deal for me. But overall, I love this movie. I loved it. It was awesome. The action. I will go see it a third time. I have to. I just overall am greatly pleased. Neil Berger, I need to talk to you for a second. I know you were well aware that you have an attractive male specimen for a lead role. And his name is Theo James. And you did all the women a great service by panning that camera on his face anytime you got. Half of the time you did it, you didn't need to. But I love it all the same. Just panning in, and he would look intensely into the camera, and he'd be talking, and then we'd pan out and realize, oh yeah, he's talking to Tris, not us. You did that on purpose. Brilliant, dude. You were thinking. Can we talk about the fact that as of right now, Divergent is #1 in the freaking country with $56 million in the box office? It made 22.8 million on Friday alone, people. Let us appreciate the fact that a young adult adaptation has hit #1 again. And it's not Hunger Games related. And it's not Harry Potter related. And it's not Twilight related. It is a new YA adaptation. It is Divergent. I am so stoked. Insurgent comes out a year from now in March with a new director, yes. But I am greatly pleased. I am so excited. And I would love to know what you guys loved about the movie. Comment down below what you guys didn't like about the movie. Comment down below. Let's talk about this movie. Let's celebrate the fact that we have a successful YA film that's not The Hunger Games, Harry Potter, or Twilight. Let's celebrate that. And let's continue to encourage other people to go and read the book before seeing the movie. Please. I just really want this to be an experience that we can just all really love together. And it just makes me so happy that it's number one. I have been following the box office for this movie every day since Thursday. And I cannot begin to tell you how incredibly happy I am that it did so well. I have my little 4 blanket right here. I sleep with it every night. I love this blanket. Before I go, there was a scene in the movie, and it has to do with Triss's fear landscape, and I'm not going to spoil it because I just think it shouldn't be spoiled. Neil Berger and the screenwriters took a liberty that I really appreciate with one of Triss's fears, and I'm not going to go into it right now. I could, but it'll make this a really long video. It spoke to me on a personal level because I have been affected by this particular instance, and I just wanted to thank all the Divergent people, the producers, writers, Neil Berger, everybody, Veronica Roth, even, you know, for whatever role she may or may not have played in it. I think that it was a brilliant move to take that liberty and to tweak that particular scene. There is an article that I read that expresses what I'm trying to convey so much more eloquently than I ever could, so I'm going to link that down below. I didn't know that I would receive that scene in the way that I did receive it, and it was great. Anytime that a female character has a prominent role, a heroine has a prominent role, young girls are going to look to that character and take and receive lessons of character, lessons of personality, lessons of growth from that person, whether we want them to or not. And I think the screenwriters and Neil Berger did a great service to young girls and to women with that scene change. And well done, Divergent. Well done. So I give this movie a 4 out of 5 because it wasn't perfect. Not by any means. I'll never say that it was. That Peter thing really irks my nerves. But we have 2 more movies, so I'm pretty sure that there'll be growth upon growth upon growth. But I love, and I'm probably gonna start crying. I love this trilogy so much. Divergent is my favorite book of the trilogy. Insurgent is my second favorite, and then Allegiant is my third favorite. Allegiant will be a rough one for me to stomach for more than one reason. But yeah, I noticed I didn't say anything about Ansel Elgort, and I did that intentionally, and it's not because he wasn't good. It's just because he was easy to overlook for me in this movie. That's all. I mean, that says nothing about him. Like, Caleb just wasn't really a prominent character in this movie, so I didn't really pay too much attention to Ansel Elgort. He'll get all the praise and the love from me when we see The Fault in Our Stars, or when The Fault in Our Stars comes out. So that is it for this movie review. I know it was long. I apologize, but you can't expect me to say all the things that I have to say about Divergent in like 5 minutes. That's unacceptable. But yes, comment down below with anything. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.